Yeah, okay. Can you see me? Yeah. Okay.
And we're going to start in 2 more minutes. It'll be 5.
Okay, so I just wanted to ensure that you're able to hear me, right?
Yeah.
You can hear me clearly?
Yes, ma'am. And
Okay.
we were waiting
Because I
for
just
Miss Marcella as well, if she could join in. Miss Marcella?
Yeah, she joined.
Bhumika,
Yeah.
if you find her, then put her on the spotlight as well.
Ma'am just promoted her as a panelist. She will be joining soon.
Okay. Bhumika, I'll be going in 2 more minutes. Huh?
Ma'am, she has joined as panelist. You can begin the session.
Okay.
Marcella will have to unmute herself. Marcella, unmute. Unmute. Still on mute.
Marcella, ma'am, you have unmuted yourself first. Now you have muted yourself again. If you can just unmute yourself again, please. We are not able to hear you. You have muted yourself again. Kindly unmute yourself.
Namaskar, everyone. I welcome you all at the 5th webinar of the Out of the Series talks, organized by Psychology Department of IIS University. At IIS, we aim to transcend the distance and mental barriers between educators and the learners, and also strive to contribute to a continuous flow of new knowledge and ideas. Before we begin with today's webinar, I would like to acquaint the audience with the format of webinar. Today is an interactional session with 2 speakers. An audience may ask any question through Q&A tab visible on the Zoom screen. Before we begin, let me introduce you all to our speakers of the day. Our first speaker of the day is Ms. Manjot. Ms. Manjot brings along a decade and a half of rich experience in the diverse areas of research, conceptualization, curating, planning, production, and implementation of ideas for national and international events and festivals. She has single-handedly managed for Seher most of the earlier annual festivals in Delhi, such as the celebrated Ananya Dance Festival, the Bhakti Utsav, the Gurbani Gaveh, the SAARC Bands Festival, and the SAARC Artists Camps. Apart from working on and producing numerous single-day events around classical dance, music, visual art, orchestras, rock and jazz bands, as well as theatre involving hundreds of artists in Delhi, Ms. Manjot has also spearheaded international projects under the aegis of Seher-Delhi Day by the Trafalgar Square Festival and the Regent Street Festival, London, the Fez Sacred Music Festival, Morocco, and the Black Art Festival, to name a few. At present, she lives in Jaipur and is at the forefront of some very successful projects around the Rajasthan, such as the Udaipur Music Festival and the Jaipur Jazz and Blues Festival, among others. A second speaker of the day is Ms. Marcela Bor. Ms. Marcela hails from Brazil. She is a psychologist by profession and has always been interested in human resource. She came to India with her husband 8 years ago, and about a year and a half ago, she turned her passion from Jaipur, and her pleasure for sharing her experience by starting a blog via Instagram called @Jaipur by Marcela. Her account has reached more than 7,000 followers, meaning that roughly 400 people join the account monthly and keep up with her. I extend my warm welcome to both of you, and I also welcome the audience. The topic for the day is framing the cultural quotient, creating the awareness and interests of the cultural reserve. So we begin, Ma'am Manjot. So we begin with you, okay? I would just like to ask you one of the basic questions. How do you identify with cultural activities? You have been in this for quite a long time now. Please tell us about your connections with art, music, and stage performance. Like how did it all start?
Thank you for having me. I mean, I'm really grateful to IIS for inviting both of us for this kind of a seminar, because it's always very interesting to share these kind of thoughts with young minds. You know, I'm always trying to reach out to the younger lot, because this is such an unconventional line of career and of work that not easily people understand it. So it's the more you talk about it, the more people understand it. As far as I am concerned, I've been actually working in the area of arts and culture for over 15 years now. But for me, it was very organic, because I was exposed during my school years. I was in a boarding school in Dehradun. So, you know, co-curricular activities along with academics played a very, very essential part of our day-to-day lives. And then I moved on to doing my philosophy honors in Gargi College in Delhi. And that's where I kind of really, you know, what do I say? The fire got ignited that I really wanted to work in this area. And I went on to do a master's in media management, and as luck would have it, and I always say that, you know, it's 99% your hard work and 1% your luck. So you're just at the right time, at the right place. And I actually specialized in film, thinking I'm going to go to Bombay and be, you know, working in Bollywood and, you know, like doing production for films and things like that. And just as an internship project, I worked on a small film, and that was my big answer that this is just not my calling. You know, like I was like, I can't do this. And not for anything else, it just did not creatively satisfy me enough. You know, I mean, of course, there are many of my friends who are thriving in Bombay and doing a lot of work, great work. But I think for me, I just needed something more. And, you know, that I just feel like that was a good turning point in my life. And I went on to work in a cultural organization called Sanskriti Foundation, which is a very, very prestigious organization located out of Delhi. They promote a lot of arts and culture. And I was very young, you know, like a student, kind of, you know, running from one place to the other, like, okay, now, like, it must connect and it must click, you know. And I think, you know, I tell all the youngsters and all the students that you just know it in your heart, you know, when it's clicking, like what clicks, you know, with you. So when I joined Sanskriti, it was like, I mean, I just felt like I've reached a whole new world, you know, like they have like these wonderful museums, free-form museums that they do, the Sanskriti Foundation has in Delhi, and they do multiple cultural activities. So I worked with them, which was, I think, my stepping stone to the whole large canvas. And I kind of finished a project that was given to me in a year, and then I went on to join Seher, and I've been with Seher forever. Like I say, I'm vintage at Seher. So in 2005 till now, like it's been 15 years, I have, traveled a lot, handled a lot of projects. But Seher essentially specializes in putting together thematic cultural festivals. And also, one of the main criteria of the organization is to democratize culture, you know, like to really take it to masses and not make it very elitist. So I kind of, you know, started working on various projects, and then one thing led to the other. So I just feel like now arts, music, theater, film is such an integral part of my existence, because one has seen so much of it and one has worked in the area so much. So that's where my journey started, and here it is now.
Okay. That's really nice to hear it from you. Just out of the, shift this topic, I'm just asking you a personal question. What is your favorite art form? Like, you've involved with so many. What is your personal favorite?
I actually, tough question, but yeah, I think I enjoy, dance, I'd say. Classical dance is something which I really, I mean, I love music and I love visual art, theater, everything, but dance is something which I just feel like it's poetry in motion, and it's so beautiful. So yeah, I mean, Bharatnatyam, Odissi, Kuchipudi, you know, these classical art forms which are not very well understood by a large number of audiences, but you know, we do try and make an effort in our small way to kind of present them in a way that people kind of understand the nuances of it, and it becomes beautiful. You know, if you make a little effort for something, it'll make an effort back to you. So that's what we try and do at Seher. You know, we try and present things even for the younger lot, because it's very easy to say, oh, it's classical, it's boring. You know, it's not boring. You know, give it a try.
You have to put in, actually.
Yeah, so that's always a challenge I mean, you know, with the kind of work we do, you know, you have newer audiences and you have the millennials who like trash things like in 5 minutes, you know, oh, this is not nice, you know. I'm like, no, it's nice, like see it and then judge it. So yeah, so that, I mean, I'd say my heart actually, I mean, my heart is divided into all forms, Sneha. This was a very tough question, but now that you asked me, I'd say dance.
Okay. Coming to you, Miss Marcela, I want to ask you that what inspired you? Hello, I wanted to ask you that what inspired you to move toward this field? Like you are a psychologist, and this is totally a different field. So, is it like a shift, or it's like an appendage to you?
It's like a shift, or
appendage. It's like a extra thing that you're doing, or it's just like you've shifted your interest from a psychology to this form. What is it? It's just like an extra thing.
Okay, great. So thank you so much for having us. I'm really grateful to be with you all. And Manjot, it's a really beautiful journey. I'm so happy to listen to you.
Thank you.
When I came here, Gabriel was really small. He was 3 years old, and I took a long time to find so many things and to settle down. I took time also, a lot of time to find myself in the city. I always had a lot of ideas, and the people also give me, you can do that or this, and I also, but I was Jaipur by myself before I started. So as I didn't have so much help when I came here, the foreign community was really small, and I have to make friends from zero. The pleasure that I can help people that I didn't have when I arrived here make sense to me here. And before Jaipur by Marcela, I was sharing all the things that I was exploring. And I became a little bit a reference for close friends of mine. And the people said, you have to share what you know. And then Instagram came, but I was Jaipur by Marcela before.
Okay. Coming to you, Miss Manjot, what change, like you know, it's evolutionary phase. So, what change do you observe in the interests and participation, you know, of people over the years? Like it's worldwide. Like you've worked internationally also. So, what change do you observe worldwide? And do you see any change in people's taste of music also, like over a decade? You know, is there any drastic change, or it's more or less similar? What is your say on that?
So I always feel like sky is the limit, and it's always very interesting and very challenging to convert a new audience. So I'll just give you a small example because it's always easy to exemplify for you, so that So we do this beautiful music festival in Delhi. We used to do it, and we recently did it in Jaipur also at Central Park. It's called Bhakti Utsav. And it celebrates, different forms of bhakti from different parts of the country. Initially, we used to get people from Pakistan also, and also Bangladesh and SAARC countries. But now, because of political situations, it's not happening. But that festival, if I take as a prototype, it was so interesting because it used to be in a park. Like the USP of one of the main USPs of the organization is that we rarely do things in an auditorium. We always reach out to large parks and monuments and adapt to that and design it and make it a unique cultural experience that you take back in your memory. It's not that, okay, I just went to an auditorium and I heard something and I came back. Like right from as soon as you get off the car and you leave the stage, after the show, it's a full experience. So Bhakti Utsav was one such festival wherein, we used to have artists sing Kabir bhajans, Meera bhajans, Surdas, Tulsi, Gurbani, Qawwali, like different Mirabai, different forms. And it was so interesting initially, like people used to be like, we used to have Rigvedic chanting, and there used to be like 10 people for that. And suddenly for Qawwali, there'll be hundreds, like because it's a popular form. So it's kind of, we just thought that we have to take this as a challenge as to why, because any artist who's coming on stage, it's nice for them to also have at least not like a 6-10 number. You have to have a decent audience to sing to. So I'd say that we started kind of curating things in a clever and in a smart way, and that was also because we did a lot of research to understand that what is working with the mindset of the people. Like, if you'll have like Gurbani, then you'd have like a large Sikh crowd, but then nobody for Carnatic bhajans, So, like, over the years, we kind of figured that, so what we used to do is we used to have a lesser known form just before a popular form. So people kind of start trickling in. And, even if you want to hear, let's say, big artists like Pandit Jasraj or Rajan Sajan Mishra ji doing Hanuman bhajans or whatever, like whatever resonates with, or Christian hymns, Buddhist chanting, so we kind of figured out a way that, and I have to say that was my personal challenge because, I was like, no, we have to, do this in a way that everybody gets enough audience. So I'd say the participation and the receiving is both ways, like even the organizers and even the people who are putting things together have to put a little bit mind to it. Like, if you just put something blankly out there, people today are across age group, I'd say, because of social media and because of so much information available on the web, we have a very, very smart audience. They're a very aware audience. You cannot just just do anything for them. So I'd say the participation and the interest over the past 10 years has, of course, improved. Also distracted because there's so much more. But every project has new challenges, and you have to, kind of work around it. And I mean, if done in the right way, we do get a super participation. And we've just recently done the Jaipur Jazz and Blues Festival here, which was actually a testimony, that how you kind of can reach out to a larger audience and get their participation using different mediums. And Marcella was one very strong medium to reach out to a large audience for that.
It has to be planned strategically, I guess.
Yes. And you have to understand the mindset of the people, like this is to do a lot with observing. Like, I remember when I was young, I mean, I'm still younger, I'm not old, but I would go into the audience very curiously, just see that, like there would be people who would be emotional, crying with music, some people would be so bored, and I used to very curiously sit with the videos, the video recordings of the festivals after the festival, just to see, like in this performance, like, did we have a large number of interested people or people were bored? So that, are you going in the right direction or you need to change, So it's also a lot of strategy, you have to play along as you work on these festivals. And particularly art and culture, because this is not Bollywood and this is not popular medium, So you have to be very careful. Like in your time of judgment is first 15 minutes. Like if people are bored, and today audiences are, they make a judgment and they leave because there's another performance happening somewhere else. So your challenge is to retain them for that moment. And I guess that
more customer-centric nowadays.
Sorry?
It's more of a customer-centric sort of mindset nowadays. So whatever they like, they'll go for that. They won't go into the depth of the...
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Coming to Miss Marcella, you moved to Jaipur 8 years back, right? And coming from a different country to a new country, and the city and its life, and everything is a new experience in itself. So how has the journey been in Jaipur so far? Like, any similarities do you find regarding the cultural context of there and in India or Jaipur? Anything?
So when I arrived here, Jaipur was not like this. Jaipur, I think, changed past 3-4 years. And was very difficult because in Brazil we speak only Portuguese. And I studied there English, but 1 hour in a day, so the whole day is in Portuguese. And so when I arrived here, I couldn't speak. And as I told you, the community was very small. The foreign community was very small. It was difficult to get the information around the city also. I didn't have friends, but I think Brazilian and India, we are very warm people. And here in India, we have one expression, Atiti Deva Bhava, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So I think this is true. This is happens, and this make our life easy because it's easy. You can get connected. Easy they accept us, and they have patience, to listen you and to try to help you. So we Brazilian and Indians are very warm. This is the way, I feel home here.
Okay. Talking on the same note, Ms. Manjot, what changes have you seen in Jaipur over the years, like especially in terms of cultural activities? Like you've been here, and what changes, especially I'm talking about Jaipur.
I also moved to Jaipur actually exactly 10 years ago, and I moved from Delhi, and at that time it felt like such a slow city, because you were coming from Delhi, and Delhi's always, always doing things in all areas. But over the past 10 years, I see like Jaipur has changed phenomenally. Like, I mean, it's of course now also the melting pot of so many arts and cultures, you know, that arts that are happening here, crafts, handcrafts, jewelry, you know, your block printing, miniature painting, dance, music, like it has so much to offer. And otherwise also from the designing point of view, I think the world is descending on Jaipur, and it has changed. I think the Jaipur audience has also kind of widened their horizons in receiving. See, the thing is that the more a city does, the more the people of the city resonate, you know. I mean, if you go down south and you see places like Chennai, I mean, I'm always saying that people buy a 500 ticket there to watch Bharatnatyam. You know, I mean, will anybody do it in Delhi? No, nobody will do it here. But because they have such patronage for their arts and they want to sit on the first row, second row and witness the magic. So I feel like the city and its people have that relationship. The more the city does, and the more exposure the people have. So obviously the past 10 years, I have really seen it grow, change, and for the good, you know. And we have places like Jawahar Kala Kendra that has been doing a lot of activities. Then City Palace, Ravindra, you know, like Kathak Kendra, a lot of places have been, and of course there are independent hotels and bodies otherwise, and cultural organizations that do a lot of work as well. So Jaipur has really come, I feel like the past 10 years have been quite exciting. Like it's nice to be in this city right now, because I just feel like it's so vibrant and it's such a melting pot. Like it's not so overwhelming like a Delhi, Bombay, but it's also it's no more a small city. It retains, you know, it retains its, I'd say, certain habits and traditions as a small city, but it's very interesting. So Jaipur has changed for the good, I think.
Me too. I have the same.
Yes. I also feel that, you know, being a Jaipurite, that we have become more receptive to new experiences around us. And I personally feel that it is a very good amalgamation between the culture and tradition as well as modernization. So it's a very good blend, and a perfect blend, I would rather say that.
Yeah. No, it is. It's also like initially when people didn't have so much exposure, so you don't know what you're missing, you know, till you go out there, till you see for yourself. Now today, because, and of course, I always say social media has a large role to play, you know, because everything is so accessible now that people, you know, it's very interesting, and I'm happy that the change is happening in a good direction.
And as you have, can you give an idea of the difference, because you've been organizing events? So what is the difference, what you personally perceive or what you feel in the events organized in India and in abroad? Is there any particular difference, or it's just all the same, or there might be a little bit of, you know?
No, it's very different. You know, like in India, you have certain, I mean, you have a certain liberty and you have a certain advantage that, and having said that, you know, like I'm talking about 15 years ago when I used to do projects in Dubai and Morocco and all these places, or when we went to London, things were very difficult. Like today, everything is available. Like if you want to see, okay, what is your stage area where the performance is, you can really get on a Google map and you will be led to that venue. Like this was not happening, you know, 10 years ago. Like you had to ask people that give us your maps and, you know, what is for every detail. Now in India, what happens is, one is the familiarity, you know, the whole familiarity comfort that you have with your own country. So we do projects everywhere, but it's just that, I mean, in different cities, but in India, things feel more in control. Like, you know, if some, like, let's say if you're doing the Udaipur World Music Festival, and something something needs to be done, you'll call up two people and it can be addressed. But that doesn't happen abroad. Like abroad you could be just screaming and nobody will listen. So abroad it's difficult because it requires very, very I think it requires an experience to organize things abroad. Like in India still, you'll fall, you'll get up, you'll learn, you'll get on. But abroad, it's not easy. You have to get on with every little detail, from visas to passports to ticketing to invitation letters. Oh, I can go on. It's never ending. And then when you land there, how much ever, you have asked on email, you have exchanged information, you're always taken by surprise. There's something or the other which is like, okay, this was not confirmed, So I think I'll give you a small example. We were doing this festival, Regent Street Festival, which was huge in London, and they had blocked the whole street, and it was with the mayor of London. And we were doing Manipuri dance, and they have these long, their instruments, like folk instruments, wherein, they use for various things. And we had a flight from Delhi, Bombay, London. And in Bombay, they said that we're not going to let you board with this. Like, you can't. And I kept telling them that I have permission for this. Like, this is the letter and this is the whatever. They said, no, sorry, you can. And we were running late. The flight was going to leave, and the artists are like, Manjot, do something. I'm like, give me a moment. Like it's so much stress at that moment. And then it was Jet Airways. And I was like, 3-4 days back in Delhi, I had interacted with somebody who used to work with Mr. Goyal, the guy who used to own Jet Airways. So he used to work with his private secretary. So he told me, he was a South Indian guy, Mr. Siridharan. So I was like, let me just tell him that I've had a word with Mr. Siridharan. It was just a fluke. I was like, because he was not letting me board. I said, listen, I just spoke to Mr. Siridharan and he said that it's all fine. He said, okay, ma'am, please go. And he let us go. So when you're traveling with such a large bunch of people with abroad, doing projects you require experience and expertise. It's not easy like that.
But whenever you used to represent India, like Indian culture, tradition, when it is actually happening, so it might be always giving you a feeling of, this happiness, joy, a pride.
Of course.
India is such a rich in tradition, the culture, everything is so unique in itself.
Absolutely. Of course. Every time you go out with, representing the country or, traveling with Indian artists, of course, there are, I can list hundreds of challenges that one has faced over these years, but there's no taking away from the pride and the joy when you're when you're in a Black Arts Festival in Senegal and there are countries from all across the globe, or a Fez Sacred Festival in Morocco, and, you're representing India. It's very, very satisfying and fulfilling.
Coming to you, Ms. Marcela, can you just give us an insight how to use social media as an influencer? Because you've been a blogger, especially how to appropriately use such platforms to generate interest and achieve maximum participation of people around us.
Mm-hmm. Yes, so the social media is influencing our behavior. The way we shop, the way you make relationships, our education. So the social media is changing more than the way we communicate. Yes, they are changing our minds, they change our habits, they are changing our preference, our choices. And when we change the mind and when it becomes action, attitude becomes very powerful. So the influencer have a lot of power, right? And this psychology speaking, it's really exciting. It's also really dangerous, right?
Yeah.
So all depends, all depends, everything depends, will depend on how it is used. Because in my case, as Manjot say, that we need to, for they to organize the events, they need to study the mindset, to have a really close connection. When she said, I like to watch the camera video, the reaction of the people, is exactly as much as we are connected with the audience, we can grow. When the audience feel that the influencer care about the opinion, ask their opinion, or if the followers feel that they are part of the process, when we read the comments, when you message them back, oh, this is, you know, we can adjust the relationship, we can deliver the better content, and then we have a lot of more things in between, but I think that the connection between the influencer and the follower, you know, this is starts to growing.
You're right. Connection is very important in any sector.
Very
If
important.
you're connected, you know, properly, then half of the job is done. So connection is actually important.
Before I start my Instagram, my first post, I did a business plan. Can you imagine? So my first post, I defined several things to reach where I am now.
Yeah.
So I defined who I'd like to speak, who will be my audience, will be female, will be male, which is, you know, I defined my mission, my vision, where would I like to reach, which content I'd like to share, which content I won't share.
Exactly. So this initiating of anything is a little bit risky, a little bit difficult, but by the time you go with it, everything, you know, it all is lined up, I guess. Your hard work, your passion makes everything, you know, move a little smoothly.
Yes, I'm working a lot, but I'm in love. I'm in love. I can't complain because I'm working, but I'm passionate.
Yeah, right. You are. Okay, coming to Ms. Manjot, as you know, the current scenario, the COVID-19, you know, all over the world. So due to COVID-19, what change do you perceive in the global industry in terms of music and art events? Like now that global artists will not be able to share a stage anytime soon. So what are your views on that?
So, I mean, a lot is already happening because I think for at least a year and a half, I don't see live performances and live events happening. And even if they do, it'll be very controlled and a very, very limited number of audiences. But I think now everything is going to and has started to move to the digital and the virtual space, wherein, you know, people are doing live concerts sitting in their rooms, or people are recording, you know, short videos and putting them online. So, I mean, there are ways people are doing things Instagram Live, on Facebook. So I just feel like, you know, because I mean, I just know that a live experience is a live experience. So I'm hoping that COVID-19 is really going to allow us to do that sooner than later, because the magic that a live performance has, I don't think, of course, the virtual space is one way to reach out to people, but I mean, I just hope and pray that this gets over sooner than later, because my heart is with live events.
Me too.
Because yeah, it's like it's very interesting, you know, because like people are also doing, you know, people are doing classes, dance classes, music classes, everything online, because obviously everything has come to a halt, you know. Now life must go on, and you know, this is the only way to kind of at present, and one will only have to adapt to it and not, you know, kind of not embrace it. but I just hope that it's short-lived, because, you know, a charm of just seeing a performance and that magic is unmatchable, you know, in my words, or in my experience. So I just hope and pray that we get over all this sooner, and it will affect, I mean, the work is going to be affected in a way that everything is going to be, you know, trimmed, and it's not things that were happening like it was a 3-day festival, it'll just be a 1-day festival. So obviously everything is going to affect in a way that it'll shrink, and things will happen on, I mean, things will happen digitally, but let's hope and pray that we're over COVID sooner than later.
I agree with Manjot. I'm so sorry to interrupt you, Manjot, but I have the same feeling. And I think I need also, as you, to be a part of the process. And this is also, you know, part of Jaipur by Marcel. I'm not going to the restaurant and eat the food and say that the food is okay, please come. But I have to interact, I have to observe the people around.
Absolutely.
So as Manju and me, I think we have a really common, you know, characteristic that we like to be a part of the process. And I think this is our jam.
You know, because like right now we've just done for Rajasthan government, for government of Rajasthan, and under the aegis of Gandhi 150 years, you know, if it interests the students and everybody who is logged in, and there's a website, Gandhi150 .government.nic.in, and we've created these videos for them wherein artists are singing in their own houses in isolation. You know, these are bhajans, or, you know, like somebody singing Kabir, somebody singing Meera, and we've put it together as a video. You know, like it's like a YouTube video, it can keep playing. It's like a virtual performance. So of course it's really nice, and I mean, I love music and I love any form of art, but live performance is a live performance.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Through this we feel that there's a mediator between us, and through live performance it's like experiencing it.
Yeah.
Connects. And through this, it's like a mediator, you know, mediating things in between. So it becomes, it's nice, but yeah, obviously.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean,
nothing can obviously compare a live performance.
Yeah.
Coming to you, Ms. Marcella, like, you know, keeping in mind the younger generation is more influenced by technology. You know, they are more into technology nowadays. So what idea would you suggest about promoting an ideology in nurturing cultural heritage? You know, because they're more into technology, and, you know, they're not that much interested in, you know, cultural heritage and all. So what idea do you suggest to promote?
What I feel that, and Manju can help me in these questions. For me, it's a little bit difficult to answer. But I have been living here for over 7 years, and I feel Jaipur, and Manju help me, but I feel Jaipur so proud of this tradition, and we have several events that we promote our culture, religion, and what I'm missing is exactly, I think, the young people we are missing. So I think here we have some work to do, but I feel Jaipur the rich cultural heritage that Jaipur has been built upon over the years, cultivating it further and keep it growing is really important, because this is the way we preserve our history, our values, you know.
Jaipur is very, very, it's a traditional city, you know. So I just feel like it has tradition and its culture all around. it is going to retain it. And I normally I am a very positive person, so I look at it like that. I mean, from a simple greeting, from a khamagani to a poshak to a dal bati, you know, everybody is very, I mean, people are very proud of things here. So I think Jaipur as a city and Rajasthan as a state, because the world is thronging here to see its royalty and experience that. And I think it's not going to go anywhere. I think we're going to retain it. The only thing is that if the younger lot kind of values it the way it needs to be valued. Of course, it's a part of everybody's life, whether we like it or we don't like it. You know, I mean, it's all over us. But I think we need to somewhere kind of value it and treasure it, and it's not going to go anywhere.
I think so also. I feel this 7 years, I didn't feel that we are reducing this. I think you can, we are preserving these events, this cultural event. I feel that in 7 years, it's not becoming less. We preserve it, and we're really proud of that.
Yeah.
We have the crowd for this.
I guess there's some section of society which is actually working towards it. So it's also obviously it's a matter of interest. You can't tell everyone to work towards it, but I'm sure there's a section of society who's genuinely working, towards
sure.
and tradition.
Absolutely, it's important. It's very important because part of history. You know, like, I mean, it's been coming along. We have to preserve it.
We have this event every, I think, I don't know, 15 days, organized by Mita Kapoor, Soul Connect.
Soul Connect, yeah.
So you don't need to have so Jaipur don't wait to have a big event. They have a small event that we share the music, you share the religion. I think
it's nice, yeah.
Yes. Okay, but how and to what extent, Ms. Manjot, do you think that social media has helped us in successful implementation of the cultural events, especially in the smaller cities? You know, because the bigger platform we can see. But what about
social media? Like I said earlier, also, I mean, it's something that, you know, one can use to one's advantage and use it in a way. Like, I'll give you an example. When we started Udaipur World Music Festival, we started that festival. Oh, okay, let's talk about Jaipur. You know, we did the Jaipur Jazz and Blues Festival just very recently in March. And, jazz is a very, very selective genre of music. So obviously, while, we all love jazz and like we enjoy the music, but the challenge was to reach out to a larger audience that, that will maybe not love jazz, but will come to at least give it a try, like come. And then, you can't sit back and say, okay, I don't like it till you hear it. So I think when we were putting that festival together, of course, a lot of factors were important. Like the curation was a very important part. Like we kind of put together a lot of artists wherein there was some international, some Indian, some known, some unknown. So that jugglery you always have to do with, with every festival. I think venue was beautiful. It was Central Park. And social media played a huge role. I mean, Marcella was doing that for us here. And it reached, and of course we had newspaper clippings, we had street publicity. So, I mean, just to talk about social media, like, throughout the month of February, we kind of, we put out the information out there for people to know that, okay, something is coming up like this. So I think social media does help you to reach out to an audience that you may not get just walking on the street like that, or that may not really be even interested. Some people just come because, oh wow, Marcella posted it, let's go and check it out, like. So, and some people come and say, okay, like something is happening in Central Park, let's just go. So social media is, I think, going forward, it's the way to go, because everything everything that we do has to be validated. And people like Marcella, the influencers and the bloggers, they're like the virtual journalists, you know, like, I mean, 5 years ago or 6 years ago, if you would read an article by Barkha Dutt, you knew like it's valid and it's great information. So it's a similar thing like that, you know, like they validate something, that means it's going to be good. So social media is definitely, I think it's going to help in every which way.
Let me complement Manjot, and we work together. I think 2-3 events together, and about how social media can really help. Right? For example, Manjot knows that she sent me the material. I studied that material, and I transform that material, the language that my audience will be interested to read, to watch, and to listen. Because sometimes social media say, oh, Manjot, you send me the video, I really only post in my platform. But this is not, it's not become a result, it's not become engagement. No, it's not only post the video, post the information, at least in my view. What I do and what I think that have a result is when social media think about the audience for that blogger, you know? See, my blogger is very young, maybe I will communicate in different way. But it's important when you transform that language for your audience. And this audience will buy, this audience will feel, oh, I want to go in this place because the way I sell the event catch the audience. So have a little bit of work and, you know, marketing brain involved to sell these events. It's not just a post.
Miss Manjot, as you were telling about some known artists and some unknown artists, so one of the questions from the participant is that we see a lot of talent in the underground music industry, but we don't see a lot of interaction with them. So as they are not associated with the big label and, you know, and they're independent artists. So as event host, what steps can be taken, or are there any steps that have been taken for such artists to bring them to the limelight, to, you know, showcase them to the public, because they are not so much known to people?
See, that's a situation that happens across art forms and across industries, you know. So I think one has to first of all believe in your own art form, and if you do believe that you're doing whatever art form, whether it's music, dance, whatever, you have to believe in that, and you have to be associated with a great teacher that can guide you, that guides you to, you know, because the thing is that if you are or a mentor, you know, somebody that can lead the way for you, you know, you have to identify somebody, a mentor, a guide, or whatever, a teacher, and reach out to people. You know, it's just that today the youngsters also don't make an effort to reach out to people and have the patience. Patience is the key, you know, patience, because patience eventually pays. If your art is good, it will reach out to people, and you have to make your own small efforts. I mean, because the thing is that you cannot say that I am a singer, but, you know, I'm just singing, and you have to put up your music, reach out, write to people. You know, when I was young, I used to be writing to so many organizations without having any reply. I mean, for queries, you know, for the artists. I mean, it was only after first 2-3 years that people started sending their applications to apply. But first we were reaching out to people and saying, okay, you're doing great work, like, you know, but people were busy and people would not reply. So don't lose patience and write to people, read about things, read about the scenario, get more aware, and also associate yourself with a mentor or with an organization that is doing great work. Like, reach out to people and say, I just want to work with you, I just want to intern with you. And you do learn a lot. Everything is a step forward.
You're right. It's like a two-way street. It should not be.
Absolutely.
Okay. Ms. Marcella, what USP do you have in mind in order to survive the competition, because there's a lot of competition, a lot of new, budding experienced bloggers and influencers now. So what competition do you see around you to keep up with the spirit of the millennials, or maybe the audience, what you're actually addressing to?
Exactly, you have a lot of competition, but I think all of us we have. But what I think we can keep in mind, to grow or to reach, to continuous grow, I can say. I think we need to be creative. We need to create our niche, right? We can be honest, genuine. I believe a lot on that. And create good content and work hard. The things not coming easily.
Exactly. The hard work is obviously.
Yeah.
There are certain there are people who are actually interested in this field, Miss Manjot. They are coming up to explore more about this field. So, people who want to explore a career in heritage or art, what suggest few learnings to excel in this field. It'll be like
Yeah, sure. So arts and culture is a very, very broad area, So I would recommend that first you identify what is it that interests you, whether it's architecture, whether it's dance, music, theater, film, whatever, whatever interests you, you have to first identify. And I always say that before you really make a choice to pursue a career, I always feel like it's a great idea to go do small internships with certain organizations, like just work with people, like Jaipur Literature Festival, for example. It's such a huge festival that happens in the city. Go volunteer with them. And similar festivals, like from Udaipur, we have so many people who come volunteer with us. And in Delhi, we have so many people who come and, just to get the experience and just to know the nuances. Because, for all you know, you may work on 2-3 projects and you'd be like, this is not what I really thought I wanted, So you before you make a really strong decision to pursue something, unless you're extremely passionate already about it, I always feel if there's any confusion in anyone's mind, in a young mind, you should always associate yourself with a organization that is doing great work. Like JKK does so much work. I mean, get yourself aware first as to what you really want to do, and then associate with people who are doing similar work. And today it's just it's what I'd say, like, everybody is looking for good young people who are working hard, who don't have issues, who are open to learning, who have the patience to learn. So if one wants to really make a career in the arts, one first, like, you have to be, I always feel like it has a part of my heart. So you have to have a lot of love and passion for the arts to go through it, and identify what is really interesting you, and then explore that area. And maybe, after some time you feel like, okay, maybe it's not happening, or maybe it's really happening. You get your answer either way.
You're right. And coming to the last question of today's webinar, you recently curated the Jaipur Jazz Festival. So tell us all about the experience and the overwhelming response you got. We just want to know your experience and your perspective about it. How did it all happen, and what was your experience?
Yeah, I mean, we just discussed that Marcella was also part of our team. But when you do a project like this, it's a lot of interaction with the government, because obviously, and we as an organization, Seher has always worked in large parks and monuments. So you have to associate yourself with the government to work on that canvas. So, just getting permissions, which is, I mean, I'm giving you all this background that these are, little things that take away a lot of time and may not be interesting enough, but they're part of the large picture, So, we identify a venue, which was Central Park in this case. And then there's a specific set designer who designs the entire set, which is also somewhere speaking about the theme. In this case, it was jazz and blues. And like I said, that we kind of try to make it into a very, very unique cultural experience. So people who came for the festival, I think they did take a memory back, because it was, you know, the stage was beautiful, the seating was beautiful. And it all starts from also, like, you know, when you, I mean, the minute you design a logo or design a poster, that's like the first stage. And then everything stems from there, you know, like your set design will be in sync with your digital design. Then, you know, like we did a lot of street marketing. We had large hoardings all around the city that played a large important role in getting the audience from all across the city. Marcella helped us reach out to the large audience. And of course, we had brilliant artists come from countries like US, Brazil, India, of course, Germany. So I think a successful project is always a mix of all these factors that come together.
Yeah, you're right. Like whenever we want to we want to reach to the core of public, we need to be more massy instead of classy.
Yeah.
We need to work on that.
And also because we are very clear, so actually you've said it rightfully. So it's all about, you are classy, but you'll want to reach out to the masses. So you don't compromise on the content and quality. You maintain that class. And, you know, like so many people came up to me and said that it's amazing, like a festival like this is just free of cost, you know. I mean, because people would normally pay a large sum of, in a big city like Delhi, Bombay, like purchase a ticket and go. I'm like, no, this is, this is the style and this is what we do and specialize in.
It was really an enriching session, Miss Manjot and Miss Marcella. I thank you from the bottom of my heart on behalf of the Psychology Department of IIS University for sparing your valuable time and joining us. And I personally feel now more, fascinated towards this field. And I will definitely, do more research.
Sneha, before you wind up, can I ask one last question?
Sure, ma'am, sure.
Yeah, hi, I am Dr. Rupa Mathur, and I would like to congratulate all the three panelists for the wonderful dialogue that we witnessed here on this platform.
Thank you, ma'am.
My question is that I personally feel that every community, every state, every country has its own unique culture. Okay, and somehow it is also tied to the identity of the people belonging to that particular community or state. And it also contributes to their self-esteem. Now, do you think that with urbanization and globalization and social media, this identity is being blunted? All of us have started thinking and behaving more uniformly than before. And somehow, especially in the younger generation, this is giving rise to a feeling of rootlessness, on a sense of not belonging to a particular social group in terms of its cultural values.
Very, very good question, ma'am. I wish you asked it a little earlier, because this requires a longer dialogue. But yes, you have a point as to, when you're saying that the cultural values get compromised. But having said that, I also feel that, I'm also a parent of 2 young kids. I also feel like, it has to do a lot with family values and what your upbringing is as we grow up. I mean, having said that, people in my generation, what you are referring to as the millennials, I see a lot of people also in the older generations. So obviously at that time, there was not so much of external influence. I feel like we have to be accepting, because these things are going to be around us, whether it's globalization, whether it's urbanization or it's social media, but somewhere each one of us has to play a role of protecting and being protected. You know, like I have to be protected for my kids, protected towards my kids, or you know, they have to be protected towards me. But what I'm saying is that these are elements that are going to be always now going forward. We cannot edit them or reject them out of our lives. So it'll just be wise to kind of embrace them and accept them. We don't have to have them a part of our lives, but in some small ways make those efforts that, you know, we protect our niche that we are all existing in independently.
Thank you so much. That's a wonderful approach to the problem.
I thank you, both of you again, and it was really wonderful having you both on this platform. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah.
And if there are any more questions that come later to you, please, like, I'll be happy to take them up. You can email or call me, whatever. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. We'll get in touch with you.
Same here. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.